Hello everyone, I'm Shane and I write and self-publish children's books. And today I'd like to read one of my stories for you. I hope you enjoy it. The book I'm going to read from today is called Nature's Hidden Adventures. It was written by Shane Casey, that's me, and illustrated by Vincent Calari. It's one of 4 books in the Nature's Adventures collection. The book contains 3 different stories, all about local Irish wildlife. We have a story about 2 little hedgehogs called Hazel and Roland looking for somewhere safe to hibernate, a young swift called Sinan who's scared of flying, and a very unusual bumblebee called Bombus Reilly who likes to talk to flowers. At the end of each book are tiny fact files about the main characters, and you'll find all the facts throughout the stories. But there's something else that makes the books a little bit different. They've been designed to be dyslexia friendly. You'll notice the color scheme. We've used dark blue text on a cream background instead of the traditional black text on white backgrounds. This is to make the page easier for people with dyslexia to see. We've also used a special font called Open Dyslexia. You'll notice that it's a little bit thicker on the bottom than on the top. We've avoided using a double space after a full stop to prevent white lightning on the page, and we've left aligned the text so it's jagged on the end. That makes it easier to see where the sentence ends. These are just little features, but they do make a big difference. So now, onto the story. The Life of Bombus Reilly. Bombus Reilly was a bumblebee, and a most unusual bumblebee at that. She was born and raised many years ago in an old field mouse nest. It was in a little park that nestled into the bend of a winding river. And what a wonderful little park it was! At its entrance, there were 4 beautiful old white beam trees. These led into an open expanse of wildflower meadows where daisies and dandelions danced from dawn to dusk. Along its boundary, there was a string of woodland groves. They were full of hawthorn and rowan trees that blushed each autumn with thousands of ruby red berries. And right at the edge of the river, with flowers matching every colour of the rainbow, was a most enchanting little marsh. There was the purple of loosestrife, the yellow of flag iris, and the blue of forget-me-nots. Indeed, for a young bumblebee like Bombus, it was like living in paradise. Each morning, the sun would rise above the horizon, drenching the woodlands with light. Then the most beautiful choir would be heard singing. Blackbirds and bullfinches would lend their voices to the chorus, while grey tits and thrushes would join in for the encore. Then, as the morning gave way to midday, the marsh and wildflower meadows would come to life. There were dazzling dragonflies and striking shield bugs. Hungry young frogs hopped through the marsh, while tiny pygmy shrews scuttled through the grass in search of crunchy beetles. Of course, like any beautiful park, there were lots of people there as well. Children would play in the woods and among the wildflowers of the meadow, while their parents relaxed in the sunshine. Most of the people, however, were oblivious to the busy world of the tiny creatures all around them, and there were very few creatures more busy than the bumblebees. All bumblebees, that is, except one. Bumblebees, as you may know, have a reputation for being very busy, and there's a good reason for this. At the beginning of each summer, queen bumblebees lay their eggs, and every young bee that hatches is a girl. Now, usually, the daughter of a queen would be considered a princess, but that's not the case for young bumblebees. In fact, these young bees are known as workers. This is because their main role in life is to collect nectar from flowers and return it to the beehive to feed the queen's next clutch of young bees. A queen has several clutches of young bees throughout the summer, and just like her first clutch, each one that hatches is a girl. Bumblebee boys are born later in the summer. So most of the time, young bumblebees are only ever seen hurrying from one flower to the next, collecting nectar. Bombus Riley, however, rarely appeared to be very busy, and for a bumblebee, this was most unusual. You see, Bombus loved nothing more than to talk to the flowers, and the flowers loved Bombus because she was so friendly. Flowers, believe it or not, have lots to say, but very few creatures take the time to listen. So while all the other bumblebees hurried from one flower to the next without even saying hello, Bombus always took her time. She would ask each and every one how their day was going. The red clovers loved to chat, while the white clovers always had the latest gossip. But of all the flowers that Bombus visited each day, her favourite was Davin. Davin was a most elegant dandelion, with bright yellow petals and delicate green leaves, and Davin had the most wonderful stories to tell. Of course, listening to stories all day meant that Bombus wasn't very efficient at collecting nectar. To her sisters, it seemed that Bombus had a far too easy and carefree life. They weren't very impressed, and so they went to the Queen to complain. Queen Hannah was a beautiful bumblebee, with a golden crown on her head and a golden sash around her waist. But what really made her stand out from the crowd was her sandy-coloured tail. Now, as well as being beautiful, Queen Hannah was also very wise and very fair. She would never make a judgment based on second-hand information, so she visited all the flowers herself to find out the truth about Bombus. Every flower loved Bombus, and it pleaded with the Queen to let her continue to visit him. However, it was Davin who Queen Hannah was most interested in hearing from. You see, Davin and Queen Hannah were old friends. This is because dandelions are one of the first nectar-rich flowers to bloom each spring, when bumblebee queens emerge from hibernation and are searching for food. And so the fate of Bombus Reilly was down to Davin. Davin told Queen Hannah how Bombus helped to brighten up each flower's day, and the Queen's heart was filled with pride. After all, brightening up someone else's day is more important than being busy. So the Queen allowed Bombus to continue to visit all the flowers and spend as much time with them as she pleased. Needless to say, the story of Bombus Riley, who lived a carefree life, spread throughout the countryside. It spread first among the flowers and the trees, then it spread among the insects, mammals, and birds. The story was told and retold along riverbanks and hedgerows, in ditches and in fields. Then one day it was overheard by some children, who were playing hide and seek among the trees. Before long, the saying, "The Life of Riley," became part of everyday language. However, over the years, the story behind the saying was forgotten. Today, only a handful of people know who Riley really was. And now, that includes you. The end. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it.